talk about the importance of language. Language is an effective tool, and we use it to tell stories, share plans, coordinate action, and it's dependent on a shared history of experience. Language is important. When I was active in the PSYOP teams, we saw so as I was going through selection and assessment, the qualification pipeline, and then later deploying, I saw this was probably the greatest training ground for future business owners I'd ever seen. Let me explain why. Like, the people that were there were volunteers, they were highly trained, and they shared common attributes of don't quit and out of the box thinking. And so they had the raw material and were extremely driven. I still talk to other brothers and sisters at arms that were part of that PSYOP special ops battalion I was in, and all of them that were in the group. And there's one thing even outside the military that's in common: all highly driven for more, and they don't quit, and they think out of the box. And so we all had the raw material, it just hadn't been shaped yet. So we went through selection and assessment, went through the qualification course, and what I saw is that we learned things that help optimize self, learned how to optimize the team, and then learned how to create massive campaigns. And I saw the thread throughout all of this was that influence was the key factor in self, team, and others. And the way to create that influence, really, because I had a background in personal development, and a little bit of NLP, and a little bit of just other things, just all the things I've learned. And I saw that in this, the most important factor was identity, and being able to control that mirror. And then that created power and control through the process. So it's really cool as I was going through all of this, because I joined the military at 35, and I did it partly because I wanted to be a better business owner afterwards. So I always looked at my life and experience through the lens of how would I apply this to business later on. And so as I looked at all the frameworks and all of how they trained, how they took people through and taught the principles of PSYOP and of campaign planning, and then the principles of influence and interagency engagement, also tactical training and all these different things I saw. And then the ability to really focus on the objective. I saw what better ground and what better concept and framework to bring back to the business community than this, than optimized performers that are able to take this, and operators take this into the business and mass medium of influence. So language is an important part of that, where we have a shared language and we understand the concepts, the words, the acronyms. It's almost alphabet soup sometimes, but we understand and have a common language. And so when we coordinate with each other, we can see that coordination was successful because we all understood each other and we all did the action. So it's so important as you as an individual, you develop that lexicon of language, and then as you join your teams, you all have a shared language, and you make sure you understand that shared language. So again, the importance of language, we're going to just highlight this. Be cognizant of the language that you use to coordinate action with others. Look for ways to create shared history with others on your team, especially, and within the groups within which you work. And then action taken correctly, you'll see that is the proof that clear communication happened. So next, we're going to talk about the relentless focus on the objective, how that's an important component to this. Relentless focus on the objective is required to plan and carry out the commitments of a high-functioning individual and a high-functioning team. Here's a sneak peek of what we'll be covering later. This is a framework of a psychological operations campaign, and it starts with defining current behaviors, creating a psychological objective, and then a supporting objective. So you can measure all the way once you get there. As I kind of have shared this with some of my clients, they say for the first time, they see that, oh, so when a technique or a tactic doesn't work, that doesn't mean like my business is done, because they have an objective. They have many actions all throughout, but unless they've reached the objective, it's more of a campaign. It's more of a timeline that they need to look at this objective planning as. And so you're really planning a campaign when you're planning your business and your life strategies. But this requires a relentless focus, on the objective. It requires that self-regulation, that clear communication, and focus on the objective.